Hello, good morning, and to our webcast participants, and good afternoon here in London. Thank you very much for joining PKO Banking Platform 2022 strategy. We will have the presentation which will cover 4 topics, and there will be 4 separate presentations, followed by the Q&A session. To our webcast participants, you will also have the opportunity to ask questions through webcast, and we will answer them. Let me now hand over to the CEO of PKO Bank Polski, Mr. Zbigniew Jagiełło.
Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your participation in our PKO Investors Day. Today, as Marcin said, we would like to present you our new strategy titled PKO Banking Platform, acronym of our PKO BP. In the same case, PKO Banking Platform, we could say PKO BP as well. As Marcin said, our presentation will consist of a few parts. First will be my introduction about our general strategic position in the country. Then we skip to the very important part of our presentation about our fundamentals of our technological infrastructure. And this part will be provided by our head of technology, Adam Marciniak. Then we go to the presentation provided by Duet Ola Sroka and Simon Wałach. They will present our current digital achievements and our new goals for the next few years. And at the end, Piotr Mazur, Chief of Risk in our bank, and also Rafał Kozłowski, our CFO, will provide you our goals regarding cost of risk and also our financial goals as well. So let's start about where PKO is in the country. As you know, PKO, this is not only the largest bank in the country, but also this is number 1 regarding the leasing activity in Poland, regarding mutual fund business in Poland as well. But the most important currently, in our opinion, is that we as a PKO are number 1 regarding mobile application in the country. If we look at this new kind of banking activity, we are mobile banking leader with around 25% market share. And being a bank which has 100 years history, we also have a very broad network of our physical outlets. As you see at this page, we have 1,550 outlets. And 10 years ago, the number of them was 3,000. This is our year-by-year process to reduce this physical network. This is also a very important physical network because having 100 years history, we have not only millions of new clients who use only mobile applications, but also we have millions of clients whose behavior is to visit our branches. Also, we are strong and secure. Our bank in last EBA stress test was one of the best in Europe. We have a very strong equity position with the total capital around 10 billion euro. And at the end, we are not only, in our opinion, the bank, we are also the largest technological company with banking license. So let's skip to another page, because being such as a very important bank in the country, number 1, we feel also responsibility to act not only as a financial institutions, but also as a very important company who develop different needs of citizens and people in Poland, like education, because when you look at this information, you see SKO, this is a school saving program, which has around 500,000 children who participate in these saving schemes, and they learn how to save money, how to manage the money, and we are present in 1/3 of Polish schools currently. When you look at one of the most important trend worldwide currently, like climate protection and the challenge regarding how to, I can say, survive in the current world. Also, since few years, we participate in creating so-called environmental responsibility in our country. Also, health, so-called blood collection and other activity, which are very important for not only children but also people like us. We encourage people to participate in different activity which also are connected with charity collection. And at the end, we cannot be digital bank in undigital society. So therefore, since years, we started to promote any kind of activity and programs which enable us to develop digital society in the country. We were the founder and participant of the first and the most important mobile paying system in the country called BLIK. Now we inform you that MasterCard decided to join us and being the partner in this company to develop this activity worldwide. So, having such a responsibility, also we still thinking about how to improve our banking and financial position. When you look at the right side of this slide, you see how is a big difference between us and our competitors in Poland. As you see, regarding the financing granted to our clients, we are significantly number one. The same is regarding customer savings in the country. And we are not only a bank. As I said, our leasing company in the last few years now is the leader of the Polish market with around 13% market share. The same we have regarding mutual fund business. And now we are starting, now means since 2-3 years, we are developing our insurance company, which in our opinion in next few years will be one of the most player in the country, because we have access to 11 million customers who trust us and would like to buy more financial products, not only via outlets, but also by our digital channels. And every hour of our activity are supported by our technological capabilities, which we not only have in the bank, but also in the company, which is owned 100% by us. So, having such as good results, we are also appreciated by investors. Our market capitalization is close to 50 billion Polish zlotych, and this is the most valuable company, not only among banks, but also among other companies in Poland. When you look at our position in so-called Central and Eastern Europe, you see that we are also a top leader regarding market capitalization. In last quarters, we significantly improved our profitability measured by ROE, and also efficiency measured by cost-to-income ratio. As you see, at the end of third quarter 2019, ROE is close to 11%, and cost-to-income is around 42%. And this is not the end. I can say this is the beginning to have better results in the future. In last years, we developed a lot of key competencies for our further development. When you look at this slide, you see that our mobile application is not only, how to say, the largest measured by the number of clients, but also the best measured by clients' experience. Because clients decided about this rank 4.8 in the scale of 5, which we received from our customers. And this rank is not only the best among banks, but also one of the best among technological companies like Revolut, Monzo, and others. A few years ago, when we thought about our digital transformation, we discovered that the most important is also to create some kind of ecosystems or platform, because clients don't want to skip from one side to another in order to solve their life problems. They prefer to be served at one point. This is, as I said, this mobile banking system, BLIK, which we developed in the country. This is also a new idea which we decided to develop, called National Cloud. Because if you would like to transfer our activity to the cloud, and we will talk more about this later, we have to have local solutions. And we decided to build these solutions, to build this company, because there were no such a company which can do it without us. Also, since few years, we developed e-government. This is access from Polish citizens to some administration services and also commercial services. And having the largest number of mobile clients, we are, how to say, a gate for them to identify them when they would like to go via internet to commercial or administration services. In last years, we also did a few mergers. So year by year, we built our experience in this. I would like to remind some of them. This is asset management company of KBC, which we acquired a few years ago. This is Bank Nordea and insurance company of Nordea Bank in Poland. Also, it was Raiffeisen Leasing in Poland. And a few months ago, we acquired Master Lease company. This is a company specialized in leasing and short and long-term services of cars in the country. And step by step, we also built our abroad experience, our abroad activity, because we saw that, especially among corporates and medium corporates in the country, a lot of them are acting abroad. And it was obvious for us that the first step could be in Germany, when we set up a branch in Frankfurt. Then the next country is Czech Republic. And in the next few weeks, before the end of this year, we also set up a branch in Bratislava in Slovakia, because clients who are acting in Czech Republic, they are acting at Slovakia as well, and they need our service in this country. 15 years ago, our predecessors bought a small bank at Ukraine, Credo Bank, and after the restructurization made by us, since few years, we earn around 20-25 million euro on a yearly base, and it's create around 30 ROE yearly at Ukraine. And we will continue this development without any, significant changes. As you know, our goals, which we had in the previous strategy, we realized in advance. So since 2-3 quarters, we discussed with you when will be the good moment to set up new goals for us. There were 2 obstacles, 2 challenges when we talk about new goals for us. It was this problem with Swiss franc mortgages in the country and solution for how to solve this challenge. And the second one was the problem with how to say, liquidity crisis created by two small banks owned by the Mr. Czarnecki in Poland. Unfortunately, these two challenges are not solved up to now, so therefore we decided to be ready to set up new goals today. So, when we look at our vision and aspirations for the next years, we would like to have net profit above 5 billion Polish zlotych at the end of this new period. Also, we would like to have 5 million eco-users at the end of this period. And before we starting to work on this strategy, one of our ideas to say that PKO could be a bank 5.0. But unfortunately, Commerzbank decided to have the similar title, so we decided to be PKO Banking Platform. And when you look at our, how to say, very strange capabilities, one of them is to focus very deeply on personalization services for our clients. The next one is to transfer all our products and services to digital channels end-to-end. Means that all products which are now available in our physical network could be also one-to-one offered in our digital channels. We are in the way to do this in the next years, and as I said, for a while you see where we are in this journey. Also, innovative products means not only that you would like to focus on the financial products, because we see that clients need also other services provided by other providers or by the bank. So therefore, knowing clients' expectation, some of those products could be provided by bank as well. From the customer's perspective, such a service could be the simplest as it could be. Therefore, we would like to be simple bank for our customers, but also to be a simple bank internally. Means that all internal processes could be automated in such a way that enable our customers, that enable our employees to focus on clients' needs and services them. In order to do this, we have to transfer our IT infrastructure, IT services to the cloud. And this road to cloud is now in the early stage, but is started. So let's look how we would like to solve these technological challenges. Adam, floor is yours.
Hello everyone. Everything what was said just before, it was on the level of the business. And of course, it's touched also the part of the technology. I would like in this short presentation go a little bit deeper to the more details about how simply the bank is running and how the transformation will conduct for last 10 years and where we want to be in the future. I will intentionally skip some important things like IT resilience, like cybersecurity and the numbers. Numbers are important, and this will be presented by the Rafał Kozłowski, but here in this limited time I would like to show you the details about our transformation, how we simply did it. We started from the bank which was typical traditional bank, brick and mortar bank, with the processes mostly in the branches, and we start to digitalize it first from the sales perspective, but in the parallel we would like to also cover the back office. So we central everything inside the headquarters, and we specialize the branches only in the sales. We provide the best-in-class CRM which was supported by the analytics, and after that we focus also on the direct channels. This show us that the most important from the perspective of our customer was the seamless processes, not only from the transaction point of view, but also from the sales. What happened behind the stage? We're starting our process with the small group of the IT people. It was around the 450 people. And for last 10 years, we were growing and growing, building our agility and building our special competence and efficiency. We grow up to 1,600 of the IT people with around a couple hundreds additional like subcontractors. From the beginning, we based on the key best-in-class system delivered by the third parties. We built the backbone of the bank, the framework, on which we started to develop direct channels, because we were aware that in these channels, in this relation, there is an important relation with our customer. If you are looking on the technological advancement and how we can describe it, we can put the 4 different areas. First is the platform technology, second is the data and analytics, third is the way of working, the culture of working, and the fourth is the readiness for innovation and adoption of the innovation. As I mentioned at the beginning, the channels, starting from the last few years, was the key communication with our customer. We saw the shift from the branches to the direct web channel, and we realized that it's important to provide the dedicated framework for each of the segment of our customer. We did this very efficient way, as you see on the feature, that was very popular from our customers. In the meantime, we saw also that the customers starting to shifting to the mobile platform, and we start to checking how this could work also in the bank. We had all the blocks in order to build the mobile payment system. We have the significant number of ATMs. We have also coverage in the acceptance network in the shops, and we have significant number of the customers. So we build the mobile ecosystem that we use as the first step in this journey in the mobile. Then later on, we were adding some transactional function, also covering the functionality from the bank, also the SAM processes, and after all, we start to open this mobile platform also for the services which coming out from our subsidiary, but also from the services coming from the open banking, and we treat the eco as an open platform. But coming back to the beginning of the eco, because we know that our market share was around the 20% in terms of the customer usage, especially in the area of mobile, we decided to invite other banks in order to achieve the broader reach of this mobile payment around Poland. And we realized that other banks also put this functionality, this mobile payment functionality in their mobile application, and now this system is the most popular mobile payment system in Poland with the 10 million users, and we believe is built on the technology that can be used also around the world. This technology that we use here is something what we simply clone, what we develop inside the bank, and we put in this Polish standard payment system as a heart of the system. Now, after establishing the partnership with the MasterCard, we will be able, with this mobile payment system, paying around the world. And we believe that this schema, this mobile schema, can be easy moved to the other countries. What else? with this our advancement and with this our maturity in terms of the building the processes, we saw that the new functionality appears outside the bank. In the relation with the administration, we saw there are some couple processes that we can implement through the electronic banking. So we established some interfaces to the administrators, and as you see on the numbers, the couple millions of the customer use electronic banking with relation to the administration. Based on this, we developed this kind of structured digital identity. 4 years ago, we have around 400 digital identity, mostly defined in the administration side. After 4 years, we have over 4 million of the customer which have digital identity, which can be used not only with the administration, but also can be used with the relation with the different private sectors. We believe this system that we build will be broadly disseminated around Poland, and we believe this will be, in the future, the main way of the dealing in the digital world in Poland. What next? Looking for the eco perspective, our best mobile application in the world, like was said, we believe that every time when we putting some additional functionality, especially when we are talking about the open banking after the PSD2 as well, the customer will have some difficulties to cover, all the functionality, because mobile application have to be very simple, and you have access to the should have access to the to information, to the functionality, very easy way, 1 or 2 clicks. So we decide to invest in the different channel of communication with the voice bot, with the chatbot, more or less like it is done now currently with this big tech. For instance, Alexa or Google or even Microsoft already provide this kind of solution. In the banking sector, this is something that is completely unique, and I would like to present you how this is working.
Witaj. Chętnie usłyszę, w czym mogłabym ci pomóc.
Czy przyszła już moja pensja?
Wydaje mi się, że tak. Wyświetlam wszystkie uznania między 11 listopada 2019 a 14 listopada 2019 na kwotę powyżej 1000 zł.
W takim razie zrób przelew do Janka na 100 zł.
Potwierdź dane. Przelew z konta konto bez granic do Janek. Tytuł. Przelew 1. Kwota 100 zł. Czy wszystko się zgadza?
Tak, jest OK.
Gotowe. Twój przelew został przyjęty do realizacji.
To ile mi teraz zostało pieniędzy na koncie bez granic?
Na twoim rachunku konto bez granic jest 15 127 zł i 35 groszy.
As you see, this is a very simple interface to communication with our mobile platform. We use the artificial intelligence in order to provide this kind of communication. And yesterday in Warsaw, you could see this in the real time, and we can also invite you to see how it's going to work. What next? In order to have this best processes and the best relation with the customer, for last few years, we really focus on the data. We have a lot of petabytes data, and we know that the value is inside there. So we covered the 3 areas. First is sales, second risk, and the cybersecurity. About the sales, we'll more talk later, Ola and Szymon. About the risk, we'll talk Piotr. About the cybersecurity, I will not tell anything more than we are protected. We are protecting ourselves in the bank, and we are protecting our customers as well outside the bank. All these 3 channels are integrated and delivered also to the endpoints that we have in the mobile, internet, in the branch. But looking from the future, we will have more and more data, and we believe that in order to be most effective, not only from the cost perspective, but also from this usability, time to market, and to withdraw the best value for our customer, we need to go wider in the area of the artificial intelligence, and we are going to do this in order to have a best offer for the customer, but not only in terms of the content, but from the perspective also on the moment in time that we're going to deliver to them, and the way, in the shape, how the customer going to see this. In order to do everything what was said, we need to change. None of our real competitors, and especially from the big tech, are not working in the traditional way in order to deliver this functionality in these channels, especially in the mobile, especially when looking about on the data. In order to be efficient and to respond to the market, we need to work in the smaller group. We need to use the agile, and we need to deliver in the parallel mode a lot of functionality. So we need to change the culture of working. We need to be very similar to the technology company, to the big tech company. We need to implement this way of working that is typical for these companies, which is very attractive on the market, which is bringing the value for the final user, because we need to also be a good competitor in terms of our talents that we have and that we want to simply have as well from the market. But in order to provide this culture and in order to be efficient, we need to have the IT processes implemented in the proper way. If you do this properly, you will be able to develop the solution parallelly in the time, and you will be able to provide this solution to the market in the constant mode. We need to simply move the functionality to the containers, to the microservices, and put to the process continuous delivery and the continuous deployment. We also need to work on the innovation solution. So after a few years ago, we started with our Let's FinTech program, where we already evaluated over 300 different fintechs or startups, and 6 of them already are working with us on the production. We have our corporate venture capital with the budget of 200 million zloty for investment in the startup, and we have also in the branches, we have 6 branches where we test the new innovative solution directly on the production on our customer. What I would like to point here, that our biggest achievement in this area on innovation is to use the blockchain on the scale which is the largest in the Europe. We implement we use the blockchain for the direct communication with the customer in order to have this persistent communication. Over 6 million of customers already use our solution, and we believe this is a credible solution that could be used also for the future in the different industries. If we are looking on us, and when the researchers, some other agencies, benchmark agencies are looking on us, and we were evaluated by one of the agencies who evaluated around 90 banks in the Europe, you see that our digital index is over average, quite significantly. What is saying that we are ready for the future. We are ready to go to the future. And what is our next step? First of all, if we want to be on the market and we want to build this layer which is attractive for our customer, we need to use the same technology which is available for our rivals, which is available for the big tech. So we need to have this technology very easy to adopt. We need to have the technology for the testing and for the implementation in the very short time. And what is the last thing, but not least, we need to also look for the cost. Everything what I'm talking about is in the cloud. But in Poland is, at least was, difficult. It was quite difficult to find the cloud solution which could be available, especially for the financial sector. There of course are some small companies which providing cloud services, but are not credible enough for such big institution like PKO. From other hand, we have big techs which providing the services around the world, but unfortunately this condition that they provided in this global standard agreements are simply not suitable for our financial regulator. So we find out that if we want to really achieve this digital supremacy in the financial sector, we simply have to bring the cloud to the Poland. So we started the project with the Polish Development Fund to establish the entity that will provide the multi-cloud services, which this services based partially what is developed in the country, but the key point in here is to bring these global cloud providers with their region, with their infrastructure, with their services exactly to Poland, and provide the services to Poland on the conditions that are expected and accepted by the market. And looking from the bank perspective, what will be our future and how we want to change in terms of the technology. First, as I mentioned, we built this joint project, which is the joint entity, which is the Polish cloud. We started this journey on beginning of this year. After a few months, we already moved our test environment to the cloud in order to start the transformation project. Our team already provides doing some research and development, and they are simply also learning how this could work. In the meantime, we will develop our own services in Poland, which is the basic services like infrastructure as a service and the platform as a service. But also we have we did a negotiation with the Google, and we signed the contract, which finally will bring the cloud to the Warsaw. In the next year, we will have first Google region, so the first global cloud provider in Warsaw. This will allow us, especially in the banking sector, to start using the best-in-class models, AI models, deep learning models, and then we can really be efficient in terms of the analytics. In the meantime, we already start the project of virtualizing our desktop, our workplace of our advisor. And this week, we already moved 2 branches to the cloud. So the advisors, so they don't have now the workstation, they have only their terminal, and all activity what they are doing in the cloud. We plan to be the bank in the cloud, but we don't want to move to the cloud with the full infrastructure. We assume to build this architecture on the model which is the hybrid. So from one side, we will cover some primary data center with the necessary functionality and the workload which allow us to run the bank, but all the secondary computing and all this new technology that is available in the cloud, we would like to use from the cloud. Till the end of 2022, we won't be fully bank in hybrid cloud. Thank you. Ola, Szymon.
Zbyszek outlined the vision for PKO Banking Platform. Adam gave us a good overview of the technological readiness. And now jointly, we will cover the strategy that delivers the vision. My name is Szymon Wałach.
And I'm Ostraka. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. banking market is undergoing a major changes. Our customers are changing, they are practically attached to smartphones. Also, big tech is entering the market, or actually they are not entering the market, they are already on the market. And finally, the competition for talent is as fierce as ever. So we are the leaders right now, but to remain and strengthen our position as a leader, we need to evolve to a banking platform. And what it means, we believe this is the excellence in 4 areas. First, we need to be focused on mobile channels because our customers are already there, and we need to ensure the personalized offer to them. Second, we have to be open because only being open to external services, we can deliver innovations faster. Third area is being digital inside. This is the way to compete with big tech also on the costs and also on agility. And finally, fourth area, this is being able to attract, retain key talent, the talent with the key competencies that are needed in the tech company with banking license.
Our strategy or recipe for mobile banking, especially at the beginning, was very plain and simple. It meant build the scale, meaning have as many mobile banking applications as possible, and convince clients to log on as often as possible. At the beginning, in the early years, it required several refinements of the application. The current version, ECO 3.0, is a very mature and advanced mobile banking applications. And according to our clients and the external research, it's being voted the best mobile banking applications in the world. Only lately, as you can see, we started adding functions and sales processes to the application, which additionally grew the level of logins and contacts with the clients. These days, we have on a weekly basis 8 to 9 visits of mobile banking clients to our bank.
Customers' smartphone screen is very crowded. They have several applications installed. Actually, they have several financial applications installed. So the battle on the touch points is super important. But also, we need to be sure that clients like us, that this user experience is, for them, it's very convenient. And we invested in this user experience really strongly. What you see on this pretty complicated picture, this is a screen of BHEX, our proprietary software tool that we developed to track every micro path of clients, every second that they spend in the app, looking for any inconveniences, etc. We built this tool on our own because there was no such advanced software available on the market, and we believe this is a competitive advantage to be sure that we can be the most intuitive app in the world. BHEX also showed us that for our customers, this less is more approach is really working. So for example, they didn't like the flashy screens, they didn't like the colors. They wanted very simple, very plain, like Google type design, and the results of it were reflected in this score that we get both from Google Play and iOS. We are, for the last 2 years, #1 bank on the market regarding the customers' assessment.
Attention on customer needs paid off. I mean, PKO is the leader in acquiring new clients. It's also the largest mobile bank in Central and Eastern Europe. What's more important is majority of our clients consider PKO a primary relationship, the primary bank, which means that with 20% market share in current accounts, we account for 26% in card transactions and 25% in mobile clients.
When we got the scale, the next step was to shift sales and service to remote channels. We started from a simple product, so we started from deposits. Right now, 70% of deposits are sold online or mobile. Then we went for cash loans and investments, and now almost 1/3 is being sold remotely. And as of now, actually, large majority of services are available online. So you see the 90% of sales processes are available on the remote channels, and service processes the same, maybe not for mortgage, maybe not for some old products, but generally almost all important processes are available. But right now we are fighting the battle to persuade clients to use them at scale.
So what we'll do as a leading mobile bank in the world in the future? Well, first of all, we want to tap into the newest technologies like cloud computing, like microservices, like artificial intelligence, in order to make a technological leapfrog from our current version of ICO 3.0 into a 5.0 version. So that's the technological advancements. What it means in particular, well, first of all, we want ICO to be a world-class mobile banking app for next years. It will be a financial center of our clients, but also fully integrated with the remaining channels of the banks, like contact center branches. More importantly, it will be a platform that will give customer full overview of their financial situation, the so-called 360 view. And finally, it will be also an open platform that will be able to, that will allow us to connect with non-financial products and non-financial services and make them available in our app for our customers.
Companies like Netflix or Facebook, they got clients used to extreme personalization. Every service is based on your data, it's adjusted to your needs, and clients, by the way, they eagerly share the data if they see a value in it. So they got used to that kind of an app, and they expect the same from a banking app. At the same time, from a different angle, the society is becoming more and more impatient, and it's not a cliche. Like psychologists really say that at least half of the society could be diagnosed as having neurosis, and this impatience and the requirements of personalization from the tech companies causes that every non-personalized information is regarded as a spam. And we don't want to spam. And the solution for that is to develop analytics to that extent to be able to meet this customer's needs. Even today, we are able to analyze a lot of data. You can see on the picture, on average, we are describing each client with kind of 11,000 parameters. These are petabytes of data that fed into CRM. Already today are generating 60% of our sales.
So this impatience, this level of personalization must be addressed. In order to do that, we need to move from the level of micro-segmentation into something what we call segment of one. Meaning, thanks to technology, one customer can be a single segment these days. Well, to do that, first of all, we will invest in predictive analytics using our internal as well as external data to generate deeper insights about our customer needs and also the context they are currently they require. We will deliver also the capabilities of machine learning and AI technologies to build the personalization at scale and also in a real-time manner. Finally, what we want to achieve is to prioritize and also define what we call hyper-relevant moments for our customers and be there not only with the right solution, with at the right timing, at the right channel, but most importantly, with the right context.
Mm-hmm. What about branches? Our CEO mentioned that we decreased number of branches and their role is really evolving. So we see them as education and advisory centers. Even now, 50% of eco-activation happens at branches, and it's especially important for older or less digitally advanced clients. So the role of digital ambassadors is is key for us. At the same time, we see that personal touch and this human contact is really important, and banks who are only app-based do not have this advantage. If you compare us to some mobile-only players, you'll see that the average revenue per client would be twice smaller. So this is a strategic advantage that we have, where everyone and our advisors are really enjoying the great trust. We want to give them more time for advisory, better digital tools for advisory. Regarding the number of branches, of course, there will be fewer of them because these are the market trends. Especially in large cities, customers don't use them as much. However, we don't want to decrease the perception of availability. But we don't have to do it with a number of branches. We can do it also with technology. So right now, there's exact geolocation, the advanced targeting models can cause that the number of branches will go down, but still the availability of clients will remain on the level we want to have.
Moving on to micro companies, micro SMEs. Well, PKO is already one of the leading brands and the largest banks for for entrepreneurs and for SMEs. What's more important is 3/4 of our customers are active also in digital channels, which is quite important for us. But when you look broadly, is that we have the best brand for consideration for a bank, for entrepreneur. And also given the large scale of our corporate group, meaning leasing, insurance, factoring, we see a still space to grow in that segment and improve our position. How we plan to do this? Well, first of all, if you allow us, move to the next page, we'll focus more heavily on entrepreneurs setting up their first company, so the ones opening their business. Especially where we want to focus is the e-commerce segment, so the entrepreneurs going into the future industries. We do have an advantage. Already today, thanks to our partnership through the eGov platform, an individual using our electronic banking can set up, meaning register and open a company out of their apartment, out of sitting on the couch. So you don't need to go anywhere, you do it out of your home. We need to better utilize that technology in order to be more efficient in tapping into that important source of new customers. Well, I spoke about increased level of personalization, and that applies also to entrepreneurs. So thanks to better analytics, we want to be more relevant, more efficient on the existing client base, and also build a higher level of engagement and loyalty. Well, it's not a surprise that entrepreneurs are usually on the go, so the mobile app will become their financial center. Therefore, a majority of our processes that currently exist in the digital banking, we want to move as efficiently as quickly to a dedicated mobile app, ICO SME, so digital mobile banking dedicated for entrepreneurs. And it's not the final. Well, entrepreneurs is also a segment where you can experiment, and we also want to make an experiment and a sort of innovation. Given the platform we have from the cloud and also the openness that Adam already spoke about, we want to see if there is a space for a PKO to start leveraging new sources of revenue by offering non-financial products. In that case, it's a concept called a single-click company, where we would like to offer readily available products directly from the cloud. By example, it could be a cloud storage space, it could be a virtual terminal, or it could be a subscription for a particular software an entrepreneur might need in order to start running a company. So that test will show us if, as a PKO, we can be also a helpful advisor for small entrepreneurs how to embark on a digital transformation journey.
We talked more about retail and SME clients, but PKO is also the largest corporate bank in Poland with 100 billion corporate financing. The digital transformation of this area is just as fast. So far, we invested in very efficient and multifunctional digital channels. Actually, some features we could even faster for corporate than for retail, like account aggregation. Then we invested strongly in the measuring of customer experience. We had this systematic effort of measuring NPS, and after these years, this is really increasing. Finally, we knew that some clients have an international presence, so we followed our clients setting up regional branches. In the future, we want to first digitalize further the processes and strengthen the processes, especially the credit process. This is key to have short time to yes in this credit process, and thanks to technology we can do it. This can have a material impact on the margin. We will equip our RMs with even more digital tools. We will strengthen the industry experience, and we'll have more product specialist ratio. And finally, we will continue our international expansion, but we do it wisely, we do it step by step to ensure that every branch is profitable.
You've heard it already today, but that PKO is already an ecosystem of value-added services. But let's cover a little bit more in depth. So already today, PKO customers have access to a number of products that are not the banking products. We offer e-government services that are quite broad and offer us a lot of engagement with customers. Customers also have access to an insurance platform that aggregates offer from many insurers, and they can select the right price and the right offer on our electronic platform. We cover BLIK. We also recently added a number of value-added services like electronic accounting services for SMEs. We offer city tickets that are purchased in our mobile banking app. Soon we'll add also parking tickets, so you can park a car in the center of a town. But that's still a little bit basic. You know, if we look further on the client needs, I mean, we can see much bigger opportunities. I think you heard probably often about discovering the full customer journey, you know, looking a little bit broader. Customers don't dream about mortgage or a loan, they dream about the house or possessing a car. Well, the title of our strategy is exactly about that. I mean, we want to go from what we've done already, one layer, one zone further, and start looking for the bigger needs of our customers. In general, you can say, well, that requires banks to be in the market, be present on the marketplaces, on e-commerce sites. Yes, to some extent, it means that we will partner with some platforms. But there are areas where we feel that at this moment we have all the necessary building blocks, all the necessary ingredients to actually build a platform. As a market leader, we want to be a market maker in that space. One of these areas is actually a car purchase platform, which we started working on. Cars, this is a big market in Poland. It's a 60 billion zloty on an annual basis, and about 1.5 million cars, out of which 60% are used cars that are registered every year. If you look into the market itself, one can discover that this is a relatively untouched market with few players existing in the online and digital space. Meaning there is a large potential and a gap on meeting customer needs that lack assurance, a guarantee on the car they're viewing, as well as on the dealership side. The dealers don't have the required size and capacity to become digitally active to market their cars they have currently on the lot. I mentioned about having all the necessary ingredients. If you look to the right-hand side, I mean, first of all, we have two critical companies that for that platform: PKO Leasing, as well as Market Lease, our recent acquisition, which gives us a high supply side. We have 11 million customers with the rich data that Ola described already. On top of it, we also have capital group companies like insurance company. We have banking products in order to offer necessary products like leasing and financing for the cars. So that platform is something we started working on, and next year we would like to test it through the market and with our customers.
Adam talked a lot about technology today, so I hope you understand that this was like a 10 years systemic effort to transform our technology, to transform our architecture, and we feel very much ready for the future. And this is the key. The tech is key in the strategy. You cannot be a mobile and personalized bank without state-of-the-art technology. So, I mean, obviously, cybersecurity is fundamental. We are known as being super cyber resilient, but we are also developing this area. We are building new technology platform. As you heard, ICO 5 will be built on the new tech stack. We are releasing new open banking services. As you had, for example, these marketplaces, but many more to come. And this all needs to be attached to the cloud solutions. It's not a coincidence that the fastest growing companies are cloud-based. Cloud just makes it so much easier to use artificial intelligence, to use data analytics, so much cost efficient that our strategic goal is to be a bank in the cloud. Regarding the operations, we, of course, will be further automate processes. If we cannot automate, then we'll robotize, but this is a bit less efficient, so don't be excited. But when someone talks about a large number of robots they use, it simply means that their architecture is spaghetti. Unfortunately, this is not our case. But of course, we use robotization if we can't automate. But there is something more interesting in this back office part, and I don't know if you heard that our CEO Zbyszek is talking about autonomous banking idea. Please ask him for that during the break. He believes that the autonomous bank will appear faster than the autonomous car, and this is fascinating. But where we want to start from is to have autonomous processes. And autonomous processes, these are processes equipped with artificial intelligence, so the chatbots with the voice technology that are super intuitive and super easy for our clients.
Well, that's all exciting, but to build a truly digital bank, you need people, you need skills. It means, in first place, retaining and to some way acquiring talent. It's to maintain high motivation and high level of engagement. To deliver also on that critical success factor, we will, first of all, maintain our current mission unchanged, as it perfectly described the deeper sense of our daily work. But based on the feedback from our employees, from the voice of our colleagues, we know that we need to improve on 3 areas. One is design better tools and better infrastructure to work remotely, especially using latest technologies for collaboration. Second area is also that we heavily changing our space in order to create more environment for teamwork, for collaboration, and for people meeting each other. So that's also an important element on that human side. And finally, I mean, Adam spoke about our proprietary program for Agile at Scale, being PKO Now, which reads new organization and cooperation. That program will remain unchanged, and we will scale further in order to reach a level where the the side of the bank that is responsible for change, in majority will work in agile teams, meaning multi teams where business, IT, operations, they sit together and develop new solutions.
Finally, ESG area used to be and will be very important for us. We are aware of the climate changes. We want to gradually remove all the activities that harm environment. We just want to do it as a systematic process. We don't want greenwashing, but we want to make it transformational. Regarding the society, you've heard multiple times that we are very purpose-driven and we think about our stakeholders much broader than the shareholders. So we want to support society, for example, in access to e-gov services. We want to help transform companies. You can see it with this cloud operator. We want to make these products available for our companies, as we believe this will be a technological leapfrog for all the Polish companies.
Well, hope that that short overview gave you a good glimpse of what we plan to do and how this all adds up to the vision defined and presented at the beginning by Zbyszek Jagiełło. So a more personal bank, advancing on the digital frontier, adopting latest technologies, becoming more simple from the inside, and then on a road to cloud in order to be agile, fast, and scalable platform.
Before we go to a risk and finance section, for which you probably wait for the most, we wanted to show you the bank with the eyes of a client. But instead of describing it, let's see a short movie. Thank you so much. Please take a look.
How can I help you?
$7 billion Polish zloty. Banking sector in Poland lost 7 billion Polish zloty due to the credit risk. It is almost 60% of net profit reported by sector after 9 months this year. But don't worry, this happens every year. Can we reduce this amount? Can technology help us? And the most important questions, can we, as a PKO Bank Polski, be better than our competitors? We need 3 things: data, people, and money for IT. Data. Access to the largest set of data. Our market share is about 20%, but our market share in transaction is close to 30%. Based for this, we are able to assess risk 40% of population in Poland. People. You know that we control costs very strict. Rafał is doing. But thanks for Mr. Jagiełło business intuition in 2013, we get green light. I would say very big green light, but only for one area, mathematics and statistics. During 7 years, we increased the number of people with these skills 10 times. And money. Because we are the largest bank, we have enough money to implement ideas what we made in the risk. Let's see what we did and what we have to do. I think so that in the retail business, we have very good position. We built very good quality portfolio, and we have very good scoring because data and because people. But can we do more? The new technology allows us to use additional data to improve our models. In Q3, we built first model based for the machine learning. The acceptance rate increased 10% and risk doesn't change. In PKO Bank Polski, we have 80 important models. So we have a lot of to do in front of us. You will say, yeah, it's easier because you have data, because the statistics work in the retail business. But what about corporate? Let's take a look for this slide. We have two companies, and we analyze flows between current accounts. And we can assess the risk based these flows. As you see, company B will announce in the coming month the bankruptcy. Somebody can say, it's nothing special. The behavioral scoring we know from the many years. If you have current accounts, it's very easy to assess the risk. But these two companies, they are not our customers. We don't have current accounts. But based for transactional, because we have very good market share in transactional business, we are able to assess risk connected with these companies. As June this year, we have new member of credit committee. We call them big data. It's work very well today in the retail sector because we can analyze the transaction, what our customer do by cards. But we have ideas how to expand this for other industries. And finally, let's see for the recovery, restructuring. It's mainly in the shadow. Nobody wants to talk about this. But we know that it's a very important part of risk management, especially if the slowdown is coming. We have a lot of idea how to improve our models in recovery. The voice analysis, this is one from these ideas. And the first outcome from this show that we are able to improve our recovery. And finally, I don't know the provisioning figures for 2022, but I know that we have data, we have people, and we have enough money to have the best risk in Poland. And this is our strategic goal. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, risk may be fascinating, and speaking about risk may be fascinating, as you may see. So now let's try with finance. Okay, we'll see something about finance, but I will start with the slide that is a kind of a reminder only. So these are the 4 pillars of our strategy. The first one, we want to be mobile and we want to be personal. Szymon mentioned something about segmentation that goes down to a single customer, and I think this is the best sign of where we want to be. The second one is we want to be open, meaning that not only banking, but we want to go a little bit outside of banking. And an idea that was represented today, that was presented today, is the idea of the car financing platform, just to give you a flavor of where we want to be in open banking environment. The third one is digital and efficient. There was a lot of digitalization today, so I will not repeat where we want to be, where we are, where we were, and what is the path in front of us. And the fourth one is people and competencies, and this is the fourth very important pillar of the strategy that was also mentioned by Piotr a moment ago. But everything will happen in an environment, in the market, that we believe we will operate during the next 3 years. So what kind of market we do believe in Poland? What kind of market is in front of us? As you see the slide just from the first glance, you see that we've got all the shapes downward. But this downward trend is not so material, let's say, because the differences are not very huge. But still, we expect some slowdown in economy, and an average GDP growth should be at 3.6% level for the next 3 years. Nominally, this is almost the same level that we have experienced previously. And nominal growth is much more important for the bank than the real growth is, because nominal is the source of our business. The GDP growth will be driven by consumption again, and to some extent by investments. And what we expect is that the situation, the financial standing of Polish households will even improve. And the pace of growth in salaries of Polish households will be even quicker than what we have experienced so far. Inflation will be kept, in our opinion, under control. The average level that is expected for the next 3 years is 2.3%. So this is at around of the target of the Polish Monetary Policy Council, which finally means that we expect that they will not change interest rates in Poland. So we will operate most probably in the stable rate environment. So we do not count on any hikes in interest rates in Poland, but we do not also expect any cuts in interest rates in Poland. So now a few words about the banking sector. The banking sector will develop quite well, but the main trend that we will see is that deposits will go faster than loans will do, which means that loan to deposit will go down and we will have some additional liquidity in the sector to manage. And this additional bulk of liquidity may shape some pricing policies of Polish banks, of our competitors and of us. Because having a lot of deposits means that we do not expect any interest hikes in deposits, but rather some downward trend in prices on deposits. But what we may expect on the other hand side is that we will have some price competition on the asset side, on the lending side. Loans will grow predominantly in the retail segment, so cash loans and Polish zloty-denominated mortgages will be the main drivers of the lending market in Poland in the next 3 years. This is also an effect of the housing deficit that we still have in Poland. So this is, let's say, a very fundamental reason why Polish housing market and why Polish mortgage market will grow within the next 3 years. Additionally, next to the market, we have some potential headwinds that we tried to identify for the next 3 years. The first one is very obvious. We have been discussing this headwind for the last 12 years. It is about FX-denominated mortgages. Nothing is sure, nothing is known. This is risk that is embedded in the sector, And this is a risk also to our strategy for the next 3 years. The second one is connected with so-called sector divergence. So we have the situation where sector is split into two parts. We've got big banks, the banks that get scale, that can expand, that can invest in digitalization, in IT technology. And we've got small banks with the issues that simply cannot follow both digitalization, but also regulations and regulatory burdens that are also an element of this segment. That is why this divergence in the sector may create some tensions in Poland in the next 3 years. And this may also trigger further consolidation of the sector in Poland. The third headwind is about personal costs. On the previous slide, there was the information that unemployment rate is going to go down again, which means that we may have some struggle around employees and about their salaries. We will also most probably have some regulatory approach to minimum salaries in Poland that may trigger some further cost expansion in the sector, but also in PKO Bank Polski. The fourth headwind is around consumer protection. This is something that we are discussing right now with a verdict of the European Court of Justice that pertains to a partial return of the origination fees on consumer loans. And we may expect some further regulations in Poland that will pertain, and not only in Poland, but also in the EU, that may pertain to consumer protection schemes. And finally, the fifth one, the fifth challenge, the fifth headwind in front of us is MREL. MREL for Polish banks means changes in the funding structure, because Polish banks so far have been funded predominantly by retail deposits. Regulatory-wise, we will have to keep some wholesale funding in our balance sheets starting from the next year. And my next slide is exactly about MREL, just to give you the idea where we may be. So MREL requirement against total risk exposure here in the slide was set up for PKO Bank Polski at 23% as the target for 2023. I would like to draw your attention that 23% is not the final say of the Polish Resolution Authority, because together with BRRD2, they will have an option to go up even up to 30%. We don't know whether they are going to use this option, but regulatory-wise, the option is on their side, and this is out of our control, which means that we may be forced to issue even more debt, even more wholesale funding in our balance sheet, which finally means that the amount of liquidity will be even higher than the one that stems from the natural development of the market and deposits growing faster than loans. This will pertain not only to PKO Bank Polski, this will pertain to the sector. And MREL may trigger some 50 to 100 billion Polish zloty extra liquidity in the market. Our situation is quite good because we are quite well experienced with issuance of senior debt, of covered bonds, also of some asset-backed securities. So we are very well experienced to issue debt. The challenge may be the price, and the challenge may be how to effectively use proceeds from issuance of MREL-eligible debt. What is supportive is also our rating that is at A3 level at the moment by Moody's. So, having said all about the market, having said all about the potential headwinds, we decided to define our ambitions at 5, let's say, levels. The first level is return on equity, and the target level of return on equity for 2022 is 12%. At the moment, we are at close to 11%, so we've got just 1 percentage point up for 2022, which means also that our net profit should go above 5 billion Polish zloty by 2022. The third one, we are going to keep our cost effectiveness, which is now at 42% level, we believe that we are able to decrease it down to at least 41%. With cost of risk, I am quite sure after what Piotr said, being well under control, and we believe that cost of risk will be in the range of 60 to 75 bips in 2022. And finally, we will continue to pay dividends, and we want to be able, regulatory-wise, to distribute dividends regularly, systematically, and to share our profits with investors. So this is the financial metrics of the strategy. Now you have the overview of what we are going to do, what we are going also to achieve financially wise. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for your patience, because our speech about PKO Banking Platform was very long. But I hope that now we are ready to face with your questions. But before this, I would like to join our representative team who present our strategy to the stage. And because we are a startup, everybody could take his own chair, please. So once again, thank you very much. Please ask us what is important for you to explain once again.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for organizing this event. This is Anna Marshall from Goldman Sachs. Two questions, please. One question on these non-banking or additional products that you plan to provide during this platform. How big could the revenue contribution from these products be? Or the purpose is more to retain clients or attract new clients or to cross-sell? So this is my first question. And the second question, could you please provide more details on your expected capital path, which you assumed in your ROE ambitions, and do you plan, for example, to issue 81 instruments? What have you assumed regarding regulatory requirements, trajectory, and so on? Thank you.
Thank you very much for these two questions. First of all, I would like to ask Rafał to answer for the second question, because on a daily basis he evaluates how much capitals we need. So Rafał, please. Then I would like to ask Szymon to clarify our strategy regarding marketplace for cars.
Okay, so as far as equity is concerned, what we assume is that we distribute dividends quite regularly. So you know that we are in a position to distribute 50% of our profits in form of dividends. This was the first assumption. So every year assumes distribution of dividends in our scenario. The second assumption is that we still have some optimization on the risk weighting on RWA side, so on risk weighting. And the third assumption is that we still have some field for improvement in the capital structure, because now our equity, Tier 1 equity, is much above regulatory minima, while Tier 2 is still with some cushion. So we may also play with the structure of equity Tier 1 versus Tier 2. We have not assumed any issuance of AT1.
Well, regarding marketplaces, car platform is our experiment, so we need to be clear about that. The experiment is on one hand obvious, given the existing ingredients we have in the group, meaning the car parking lots with used cars coming up from the PKO leasing and normally being resold. We see the opportunity actually to have a stock of relatively good cars quickly, and the cars we know the quality. And we do have digital assets as well in order to develop the platform. So the proof of concept will not be difficult for us to deliver and then to test the market. In terms of the business objectives, for us at this moment, two elements are mostly exciting. One is the scale of the market in terms of number of customers. So if we are able to tap into part of those customers looking for financing as a PKO brand, this is an exciting part. Second element that is critical for our reasoning behind the platform is the opportunity to become more engaged with our customers through additional cross-buy opportunities, being insurance, being leasing, or car financing. As you might be aware, PKO at this moment is not present in the segment of car financing, so it also will be our extension of our consumer finance business. So these two areas, I would say, is critical. At this moment, we don't model any specific fees that will come from the car dealers, signing into our platform. Obviously, the platform will be open also not only for PKO customers, but also to external customers, and that's what excites the team.
If I may add to this, that these car marketplaces, our new idea, I can say startup, and few weeks ago, I read in FT the interview with the CEO of one startup, valued a few billion euro, and up to now I am under impression his answer was about the net profit, because his answer was that net profit is not our core parameter. In our case, of course, we would like to be profitable.
Hi, good afternoon. It's Sam Goodacre from JP Morgan. Getting back to capital, perhaps, Rafa, we've heard a lot of headlines about M&A. There's obviously a big asset for sale in Poland, and you are reportedly interested to expand abroad. So what are the risks, therefore, to the capital trajectory and the ability to pay dividends in particular, should an attractive asset become available? And also, how likely is it, or how intent are you to expand inorganically?
So I have two microphones. But first of all, questions about our appetite for M&As or going abroad. When we start our meeting, I would like to say that one of my dreams comes true, because a few years ago I said to you that I would like to lead the bank which is boring and predictable, means that you know what we are doing. Yeah. So when we presented one slide about our M&A activities, they were not spectacular. Yeah. Each of them were very, how to say, with our good approach to understand what we are doing. So when we are thinking about M&As, still we are very conservative. Of course, we are obliged to you as well. When something is for sale, you have to analyze it. Yeah? So now in Poland is a situation that one of the bank, mBank, which when we're thinking from the technological competition, one of the most important competitor for us. So we have to look in order maybe we meet something, to understand something, how they are doing. But in our opinion, this is not easy target. This is not easy target. But we have to analyze it. So my understanding is that the process is starting now. This is such as German pace of doing such as things. So slowly, aber sicher, I hope. So probably in the middle of the next year, there will be decisions about whether the mBank will be for sale or not. And we observe this. We are not hot. We are calm. So we will see.
Maybe before we continue with questions from the room, I would like to encourage a large number of webcast participants to also start typing the questions, so that since we have vast majority of our management board members in the room, we will have the opportunity to ask them. And I'm handing over to Gabor. Please.
Thanks. This is Gabor Kemény from Autonomous Research. A question on risk is that your new target is still a reasonably narrow range on your new provisioning target. With these new models, which I understand you are now applying, how do you take into account cyclicality? So I understand that you assume a reasonably supportive macro environment with 3.5% GDP growth in the next couple of years. How sensitive would you be to a significantly slower GDP growth from here? And the other question is on margins. I mean, you've been talking quite positively about the margin environment so far, with tailwinds coming from a better deposit mix, a better loan mix. Now you sounded more cautious on the loan pricing competition. Does this mean that you have a midterm cautious view on the margin outlook? If you can elaborate a bit more on the outlook for the next couple of years.
So Gabo, thank you very much for these two questions, because the second one is easy to answer, and Rafał is more than ready to answer, but after his answer, I would like to pass voice to our shy hero, I can say, so risk management, because what you saw during the presentations of Piotr Mazur, this is what I can say. I see that you don't believe, you still don't believe that we can, manage our risk in such a way that even in the time when our competitors are growing their cost of risk, we are still maintain the pace which we set up a few years ago. So Piotr will rethink his good answer for this, but Rafał now, please.
Okay, thanks for the question about net interest margin. So the story is that as of now, and the short-term projection is that quarter over quarter, we can still improve our net interest margin by 1 to 2 basis points, with some headwinds coming from two directions. The first direction is about a partial return of origination fees on cash loans, and this will trim our net interest margin by some 5 bips at least, starting from Q4 this year. And the second headwind will come with MREL, because MREL for us means that we'll have to pay a coupon or a price on the MREL eligible debt of at least 100-120 bips over mid-swap, which means that after swapping this into Polish zloty, may bring you the price of a MREL eligible debt of WIBOR plus 180, 150, 180. Let's be a little bit more prudent in this range. So as the total obligation of MREL by 2022 may be some 20 billion Polish zloty, some 6-7%. So then you have all aspects to calculate the effect of MREL. The third one that I mentioned before is that the market will change. Loan to deposit at the moment is at 97% in the market, more or less 97.3, 97.4. This is what I remember for September. And what we believe in is that by the end of 2022, it may go down to close to 90%. And this will also change the pricing policies in the market, which may mean that deposits will go further down, but loans will not go up. They may go down as well because of a competition in the market. So this is additional element, additional headwind that we see in front of us in terms of net interest margin in the longer perspective. So short term is still the same, 1-2 bips per quarter. Then this element of the last verdict of the European Court of Justice, and in the longer term, MREL and loan to deposit in the market.
The range was, based for the assumptions what Rafał presented on the beginning. And I would like to say that from my perspective, the final figure is not so important. For me, it's more important that we are able to be the best risk management on the market. It doesn't mean that we don't have, I would say, inflow what GDP will be, but we have inflow how the risk will look in PKO. And we are quite sure that we will be better than our competitors. Probably if you would see in detail on Q3, you will recognize that costs of risk in PKO Bank Polski was the lowest on the Polish market. It doesn't mean that we could say, yeah, we already the best. However, I don't like this measure because it's easier to reduce cost of risk. But it's, I would say, not so easy to grow and reduce cost of risk. My first slide, I would say, presented that the most profitable product, cash loans, still is growing in PKO Bank Polski and cost of risk is going down. I am calling that if the risk is going down, then we have conservative approach. If business is going up and cost of risk is going down, then we have intelligent approach. I prefer the second.
Thank you.
Hi, it's Alan Webborn from SocGen. Are you still going to pay the undistributed earnings from last year in your 2019 dividend? That was the first question. The second one was, in terms of the loan growth that you're putting out for the sector, I mean, is it implicit in your targets that PKO BP will outgrow the market? Or do you think now you're of such a size that you will grow in line with the market? Because clearly, you know, it doesn't matter what the market does, it matters what you do in terms of getting to your 5 billion target. So I'd be interested to know what you feel PKO's position is, because clearly you have a lot of plans in digitalization, in direct sales and so on, and one would hope it would have an impact in terms of your ability to generate volume. So that was the second question. The third question was, presumably your cost of risk ignores the Swiss franc mortgage issue. Clearly there's going to be some portfolio provisioning at some point. I think your president has said not too much and not too little, whatever that means. But I just wanted to check that you're ignoring that in terms of the risk going forward. That was the third question. The fourth question was, where are you in this plan? I think, you know, if you compared to the last plan, I think nobody would deny that you've moved on massively as a bank. But it's hard from all this to understand where we are today, what's actually active, and actually what's to come. So in terms of 2021, 22, I mean, is IKO 5 fully functioning? I mean, are you able to give personalized service through your mobile banking platform to individuals today? Or will it be rolled out by the end of 2020? Can you just give us something in the region of timelines so we understand? I think we understand where you're going to get to, but I'm not quite sure exactly where you are now. So if you could help us a little bit to understand that development over the plan, that would also be helpful. Thank you.
Alan, thank you very much for a lot of questions. I don't know whether me personally remember all of them, but I would like to touch this question about our, appetite for growth regarding the loan activity. Generally, usually our answer is with the market, yeah. But we have to be selective. In last 2-3 years, we decided to grow significantly higher than the market in the segment of consumer loans, and we did it. Yeah. Why? Because our observation was that our natural market share is lower than could be. The second one, that using this data analysis, we saw that our clients who are with us are using this product from other providers. So we decided to ask them, come back home, do it with us, yeah? And we are successful because, as Piotr said, we do it growing significantly higher than the market without increasing cost of risk, because they were clients well known by us. Now I would like to ask Rafał to answer for the beginning of your parts of questions. I only would like to comment this issue connected with FX mortgages, because I'm waiting for this question. This is usually a question which makes me happy, because this is a saga which we have in the country since 15 years. And this saga has few chapters. First chapter, it was euphoria. Means that people, clients in Poland, few years ago, 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8, discovered sign grail of looking for cheaper money. Means that in the country, in Poland, you have Polish zloty on the higher interest rates due to the main interest rate given by the National Bank of Poland, than the money delivered by National Bank of Switzerland. And this euphoria was shared by banks, by media, by politicians, that this is good for the country. And when the crisis came in 2008, everybody realized that this is not such a fantastic product. And we have such as trauma for next few years. This is the second chapter. First one, euphoria, the second, trauma after the crisis for next few years. And every party, means banks, customers, media, authority, justify, how to say, to this situation, trauma. And the third chapter started when National Bank of Switzerland decided to desplit its connection with euro. And unfortunately, it was a time of elections in Poland. So there were a lot of advocates how to help people with the help of others' money. Yeah? And politicians decided to find so-called good parity of exchange Swiss franc mortgages into Polish zloty. And they were looking for it for 3-4 years. They failed. And this third chapter is closed. Now we have the fourth chapter. Means that this responsibility to find the solutions of this idea, how to solve the problem of FX mortgages, are in the hands of court justice or courts in Poland. Yeah? And I don't think that they find this solution very, very soon. It takes time. So our approach to this is be patient. We see how this situation will develop. Compared to other banks which own significant volumes of these FX mortgages in their balance sheets, we are the strongest, the most resilient, because of this huge capital which we have in the bank. When we think about the future and your questions about provision this challenge, our understanding is that this is a rather common issue than our single approach. So our understanding this is that in the communications with audit firms and also authorities in Poland like financial authority office like Minister of Finance and others. In next months, this situation will be clarified, and finalizing year 2019, there will be some first steps to make a provision. But when we look at our business, and you expect it from us that year 2019 we finish with the net profit above significantly 4 billion Polish zlotych, and as we said during the meetings after the second and the third quarters and our financial results, you have very good recurrent business. Yeah, so we could, how to say, earn this amount of money which you saw in the quarter 2, quarter 3. So we haven't seen any kind of, how to say, significant impact on our current profits. That's the answer for these questions about Swiss franc mortgages or FX mortgages. Rafał, you probably having a good memory and being younger than me, you remember other questions, please.
Okay, so there were 2 other questions. So the first one is about dividends. As far as dividends are concerned, yes, our intention is still to distribute the part that was unallocated from 2018 profits, and the bank is in a position to do it. Moreover, given the structure of our equity Tier 1 versus Tier 2, we cannot exclude that this cannot be repeated in the next years as well. And the optimization of the equity structure is one of the potential solutions to have it executed also in the next years. Then on your questions concerning cost of risk, I can only add one point. Cost of risk does not include any FX mortgage litigation reserves, so this is outside of cost of risk scope. And this is how you should understand this target. And the third one is, as the market shares are concerned, there is an assumption of continuation of trends that you have seen so far in our business. So selective on corporate side, very selective on the corporate side, I should say. Then slightly below the market pace on Polish zloty-denominated mortgages, where we are overrepresented at the moment, and above the market in consumer lending. While deposits, of course, in line with our natural market shares, and with current accounts growing faster than term deposits, and this is also the assumption for the future. This is also very supportive for the business case that we have constructed for the sake of strategy. And there was the last question about ICO 5.0. Who is going to answer? Szymon. Okay, so Szymon, I see, and Adam would love to add something, so I'm giving it off to
Sure. Maybe let's tap into the personalization, the scale of our CRM capabilities at this stage. Well, to just say directly, currently we are at the micro-segmentation level, so we have around 8 live segment-based client segments, which then we broke down into micro-segmentation, and we come up with close to 400 micro-segments. Our CRM is a state-of-the-art CRM, but it was designed with the most attention to branches historically. It was several years ago. So we are adding many features to the digital side. At this point, when we benchmark ourselves on the digital marketing capabilities, we are scoring above the European benchmarks in the latest study we've done. Where we are today, we are definitely able to deliver on the real-time offers. We are able to personalize the communication. If you've seen our historical presentation, we do have capabilities related to personalized messages, push messages. You've seen today also a snapshot of a chatbot that will add highly demanded personalized feature to our mobile capabilities. Where we still missing is definitely the the scalability to be at this segment of 1. For that, we need the machine learning and AI capabilities to deliver this personalization at scale. 2, this scale will allow us to be more contextual. So maybe based on the next best offer, on next best conversation models we have, we are both good targets to start discussion about the loan, but your context based on the external data we have, and we do extensively use fingerprinting, pixels, in order to tap into external data. We should know that your context will be related to car purchase, while my context will be related to vacation. So at this point, we're not yet at the, on the digital side at this scale to micro-personalize the messages and deliver them at the right context. And this is one of the elements of what we call like internal Google, internal Amazon capabilities. But more or less, I mean, what Ola covered in the presentation, that shows that already about more than 60% of our core daily banking products are being suggested by a CRM engine, so which is a fairly high number. In terms of the digital roadmap, I will pass voice to Adam in a second, but just want to say that actually this project is already part of our digital transformation. So mobile banking is an existing agile team that is scaling currently to work on the Eco 5.0. They are at the early stage of setting up the vision and designing the core deliveries they should have on first wave. But Adam will maybe cover a little bit on the technological side, which is more advanced at this stage.
Maybe it's worthy also to add that we under PSD2 regulation as well. So we prepared also the interfaces in order to integrate with the other banks. So we believe that if these other banks will provide them mature and credible services, we will also go deeper in this area in order to get more data and provide more customized information for our customer and have the better evaluation about the customer expectation. And the last what I would like to add is that we are prepared from different perspective in terms of the different layers of the architecture. First of all, in terms of the mobile, we have already this application defined to be able to extend with the different functionality. But we know that this adding some additional functionality is always difficult to simply go through or simply use this application. That's why we put this AI interface in terms of the speech and the voice. This will give us the very good opportunity to have this flexible solution in place. We don't need to change a lot in terms of the architecture if we would like to simply provide the customized communication to the customer. And this interface, what you saw that on the movie, is already up and running, and we going to invite the first customers for our pilot just on the beginning of the next year. And based on this, how this will be somehow persuaded by our customers, we will then extend this functionality for more function and more function. So in terms of all these pieces of the architecture, we feel comfortable, but we know that we need to wait for the cloud as well, because the mobile customers behave in the unpredictable way, especially in the days of the payments, the pension payments, for instance. They are able, for instance, to generate double or 3 times higher traffic than to average. So we need to be prepared for the intensive growth of the load and intensive shift from the other channels just to the mobile.
So thank you very much. Next question, please.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Schlemmer from VTB Capital. If I may ask 3 questions. The first question is actually about the retail investment products. It's coming from the fact that, one, I was looking at your macro scenarios. You're obviously envisioning that the wealth of the customers in Poland would continue to grow while the interest rates would actually remain low and the real rates arguably would even go down as the inflation picks up. I would wonder if it would significantly increase the demand for investment products, specifically in the digital world, whatever the things like robo-advisory, ETF products, and how, whatever you see this kind of demand coming from the customers, and you would be willing to invest into this one. This is the first question. The second question comes in terms of the marketplaces strategy. If we look at some other markets in the neighboring countries, typically the banks which have started to venture into those type of things have started with the housing ecosystems, as the mortgages markets is obviously much bigger. I would wonder whatever you see this as a real opportunity in Poland, or you simply think that you have a bigger market share for grab in the car market, or it's something which you have in mind going forward. Also filling into this is whatever you would be looking to add up acquisitions to facilitate the marketplace's growth, for example, buying the online classic fields to basically to allow the clients to transact there. And the third question is actually coming from the regulation, but I would rather say the more unpleasant side of it, especially additional taxation. As you have mentioned that the government is planning to increase the spending, especially in the public sector, whatever you see the risk that the tax burden on the bank sector in this or other format could be increased. Thank you.
Thank you very much for these 3 questions. For the second, we'll start. Ola, please.
So regarding the housing platforms, other marketplaces, as you've seen on the Szymon's slide, we are thinking about many marketplaces, so housing, education, etc. But I mean, I hope you're accustomed to our strategy of under-promising and then over-delivering in our strategic initiatives. So we talked about cars because this will be released the fastest. We have a joint team of our leasing and the master lease company that we acquired. They are working on the MVP, the minimum viable product, and you will see it very soon. But I mean, in longer term, in a few months, of course, other marketplaces will appear as well.
Okay. You might be aware that just a week ago, also during the earnings calls, I mentioned about we launched our robo-advisory service. So clearly, we want to maintain our leading position and also grow our market share in the investment products, meaning to some extent move from simple deposits into more advanced products. And longer-term saving plans, as also fee-generating products. Robo-advisory is really new. It's been active since the beginning of this week, so it's too early to say what's the uptake. But it shows also the direction we have. If you look more broadly, the attention is to simply get the primary relationship, onboard the client as quickly as possible, make sure that the payments are active, which means balances will show on the account. And then as we develop the relationship, we start moving into more advanced products. We have already experience with regular savings plans. We have about 1 million customers accounts that on a monthly basis pay into a long-term target saving plan. Now we start with the robo-advisory, which is based more on the investment products. We hope that this will trigger with our mass market customers. This robo-advisory engine will also be present on our operational CRM, so the dashboard that is visible to branch advisors. We hope to launch it at the beginning of next year. This way we'll be able to deliver the investment advice at scale to mass market clients also through branches. What we call also, we want to democratize the financial advisory service, which historically been only limited to affluent and private clients.
This way, we want to show the attention we have to the average Poles and also their savings. They should have the capacity to understand what it means to save for their retirement, what it means to save for the future of their children. So in general, this is important segment. In terms of planning, clearly, I mean, we take into account the market outlook in order to discuss jointly with Rafał the proper mix. But again, we take first view of the customers. I mean, we don't have set targets for branch advisors how much a specific product they should sell as an investment product. They have a general basket of saving products, and they can choose the products and adjust it to client needs. So in that way, we take a super cautious approach to make sure that the customer's interest stays first, and the advisory products should help us, together with MiFID II products, to be spot on the customer profile and their specific need.
Okay, a few words about taxation. So we do not expect any hikes in taxes in Poland for the banking sector, at least until the end of 2022. What we expect is some further increase in burdens pertaining to resolution funds and deposit guarantee funds. There is a very clear path that is installed in the Polish legislation, which requires that charges will grow annually, and actually the growth that we anticipate for the next year is double-digit.
So next question, Marcin.
We have some topics which were mentioned by webcast participants, not addressed here in the room. One is the question, you mentioned extra liquidity in the sector arising due to new senior debt issuance until 2023, MREL. What would be the resulting extra liquidity for PKO BP in terms of P&L, in terms of value?
Okay, so just to give you a very precise answer on this, so what we believe at is that by the end of 2022, we will have to print some 20 billion of senior non-preferred debt, and average cost that you may assume to this is 180 bips. And then the question is how effective we will be in investments of this extra liquidity. And this, of course, will vary. As of now, the bank is very well experienced in investments in Polish govies, and we will continue with Polish govies, but we will also consider some other possibilities of investments.
And one more question which did not overlap with the question asked here was about the impact from headwinds into our net profit forecast for 2022. So the question is, are FX mortgage losses? I think we answered that we do not assume any mortgage losses, but the other question
maybe, I generally answer to these questions because as you saw these headwinds, there's in some sense disruptions. Yeah, they are not such as how to say business as usual. So it's difficult to measure them in such as very precise quantitative way. Yeah, but as you remember this table of macroeconomic data which we presented for next 3 years, they are very good for the Polish economy compared to other economies in EU. Yeah, they are worse than we have last 2 years, but reality they are quite good. Yeah, so our normal business could be very good, but whether these headwinds realized in such as worst case scenario, base case scenario, or optimistic scenario, we have to wait.
I will add only one comment to this. What we were able to quantify, we quantified. So MREL is quantified. As far as consumer protection is concerned, we quantified, first of all, the caps that were installed on management fees on mutual funds in Poland, and this is embedded in our target. The third one is with cross-border transfers, EU, transfers, that we were also able to quantify. As far as all others are concerned, so divergence of the banking sector in Poland. The second one, FX mortgages, final solutions, as well as also growing power of employees. We were not able to exactly quantify them, so the majority of this effect is not quantified and is not embedded in the forecast.
And we have one more question on early payment of consumer loans. Is the impact included?
Yes, it is.
Do we have some further questions?
So I would like to say thank you very much for your attention, and you saw on the stage our agile team who present this strategy. I feel like Scrum Master, so thank you very much. Have a good day. Thank you.